In the cold north, past the wind-brushed fjords and sleeping hills, there is a forest few dare name aloud. They call it the Forest of Murmurs, because if you wander far enough and listen long enough, you will hear the old gods whispering in the trees. This forest stands near the roots of Yggdrasil, the great world tree. Its branches reach every realm, its roots drink from every secret. And tonight, traveler, you walk beneath those branches, not to seek treasure, not to find glory, but simply to rest, to listen, to drift. You sit against the bark of a tree older than time. The moss beneath you is warm. The air tastes of pine and memory. From the mists ahead, a tale begins to rise, soft as breath on snow. Let us begin. Once, long before men knew fire, there was a giant named Varlunder. He did not roar or crush mountains like the others. Instead, Varlunder sang. He lived alone in the frozen halls of Jotunheim, far beyond the reach of sunlight. His voice was deep, like the creaking of glaciers, slow and beautiful. With his song, he shaped the ice into cathedrals, towers, mirrors for the moon. He sang rivers into stillness. He sang the snow into perfect, quiet silence. But the gods grew wary of Varlunder's power, not for war, but for wonder. For Odin knew, beauty too can shape the world. So he sent a raven to Varlunder with a question. What do you seek, giant of ice and song? And Varlunder answered, not in words, but in a final melody, so sorrowful that it turned the wind to tears. His song lives still hidden beneath glaciers, echoing softly to those who sleep with their hearts open to the north. Maybe tonight, if you listen closely, you'll hear it too. Far from Jotunheim, across the silver rivers of Midgard, lies a lake untouched by moon or star. No map leads there, no path returns. But travelers sometimes find it, in dreams. And tonight, so have you. The lake is still. So still it seems not to move at all. Its surface reflects not what you see, but what you've forgotten. They say the lake belongs to the goddess of memory, Mimir's sister. She guards no treasure, no shrine, only silence and stories left behind. Long ago, wandering spirits came here to give up their names, to be free from pain, from memory, from longing. One by one, they whispered their names into the water, and the lake kept them gently, forever. Even now, if you lean close, you may hear them a hush like wind over glass. And perhaps you may offer a name too, a fear, a sorrow. Let it sink, let it drift, let it go. Deep within the twilight between realms, where sleep folds into the stars, there runs a wolf made of embers. They call him Skarbrin the Ember Wolf. He does not howl, he does not chase. Instead, he drifts across the edges of forgotten dreams, his glowing fur trailing sparks across the soil of Yggdrasil's roots. Long ago, they say, he was born from the last breath of a fallen star, and gifted to the night by Freya herself, to keep sleepers safe from the weight of waking too soon, when a heart beats too fast in fear, when a thought burns too bright to fall asleep. Skarbrin appears quietly. He does not speak, but when he curls beside you, the world softens. Even gods, they say, once rested beneath his warmth, and now perhaps so do you. To the east of the waking world lies Alfheim, land of the light elves, where the wind plays like music, and the flowers sleep with open eyes. Among the elves lives one unlike the rest, old, gentle, cloaked in silver feathers. They call him Vindir, the Whisper Maker. He carries no sword, wields no magic of war. Instead, Vindir walks through twilight meadows, with a spool of spider silk thread and a pouch full of quiet. Each night he listens to the wind, catching whispers from wandering souls, fragments of songs, unfinished thoughts, the hush of a mother's voice. With them, he weaves soft dreams for those in need, a forgotten child, a grieving elder, a warrior too tired to dream of anything but silence. Vindir's dream webs float into the sky like fireflies, finding their way, perhaps even to you. Of all Odin's ravens, there were two that circled the world each day. Hugin, thought, and Munin, memory. But some say there was a third, a quiet one. His name was Kelder. He was not as swift as Hugin, nor as clever as Munin, but he was kind. One day, while flying across Midgard, Keldur saw a weeping child alone in a frozen field, and so he landed and stayed. The snow fell, the world moved on, and slowly Keldur forgot the sky. He built a nest in a broken cart. He watched the seasons change. He listened to lullabies and the crackle of human fires. Years passed. His wings weakened, his memories faded, until he no longer knew that he had ever flown. But sometimes, in dreams, he feels wind beneath him again, and for a moment, he soars. And maybe, so do you. Beyond the fjords and fog, where the sea forgets the names of its shores, there sails a ship no one built and no one steers. It is called Dromi, the ship that never sank. It appears only when the tide carries too much sorrow, when sleep feels too far away, when the heart is too heavy to float. The sails are made from old cloaks, stitched by widows. The hull creaks with lullabies never sung. Those who bore Dromi are not dead. They are simply adrift, lost between a memory and a waking breath. But the sea is kind. Each night Dromi finds another shore, and those who step off do not remember the ship. Only that somehow they rested, and perhaps you have just stepped off, your footprints fading behind you on dream-washed sand. Not far from the path you wander now, there stands a crooked pine. Its bark is silver gray, its roots reach deep. Beneath it, half swallowed by moss and time, rests an axe. No one remembers who wielded it. No name remains carved into the handle, only the shape of fingers once wrapped around its hilt. They say it belonged to a warrior who walked away from battle, never to lift the blade again. He buried it here, promising it would never harm another, and so it sleeps quiet and heavy as the forest grew around it. Even the animals pass by in silence. Tonight, you sit beside it, as that same stillness covers your shoulders like a blanket. Not every weapon ends in blood. Some, like dreams, end in peace. Deep below the world, where the roots of Yggdrasil brush the cold stones of Niflheim, there is a cavern lit by 1,000 candles, and at the center sits a woman with no name, and no face the same twice. They call her the Candlemaker. She does not speak. She listens. When the dead arrive, they give her a memory, a single moment they cannot let go, a song they loved, a name they whispered only once, a sound, a laugh, a first snowfall. She shapes each into wax, melting it gently over her hands. Then she lights it, and the flame burns somewhere in the dreams of the living. Perhaps one of her candles flickers for you tonight, faint and gold, tucked into the corner of your mind, warming the edges of forgotten joy. Let it burn slow. Let it light your way. Far above Asgard, past the stars known and named, there is a quiet patch of sky, darker than the rest, softer. The gods do not look there, not out of fear, but respect. For it is said that this patch of night called Vakerloft holds the dreams that never found a home, the wish whispered but never spoken, the adventure imagined but never taken, the voice you almost had the courage to use. All of it stored there, not lost, not gone, just waiting, shimmering like faint silver threads in the vast silence. And sometimes, when the world grows still enough, you can feel them passing overhead, dreams brushing lightly against your skin, as if to say, I remember you, and maybe you remember them too. Once, on the edge of Vanaheim, there stood a tower carved from pale stone and golden oak. Its walls held only hourglasses, hundreds of them, some tall as trees, some no bigger than a seed. Each hourglass held a moment, and each moment belonged to someone. A breath, a goodbye, a kiss beneath falling snow. And at the heart of the tower was the timekeeper's daughter. She wore robes of woven dusk. She carried no staff, only a soft brush, which she used to gently clear the dust from the surface of each glass. Her job was not to control time, only to witness it, to care for it, to honor it. She never rushed. She never wept. She simply moved, hour by hour, like water over stone. Some say she still watches, perhaps even now, counting this moment of yours, and smiling softly as you fall deeper into rest. You are nearly at the edge of the forest now. The night has softened. The mists have thinned. And at your feet, something glows faintly beneath a bed of pine needles. You pick it up. It is a shell. Old, smooth, spiraled like the stars. Not from any sea, you know. They say the gods placed it here. Before memory. Before fire. Before even language. It holds the first story ever told. Not a myth. Not a battle. Just a sound. A voice speaking to another. Saying, "You are not alone." You raise the shell to your ear. You do not hear words. Only rhythm. Breath. The pulse of something vast and kind. You close your eyes, and the forest drifts away. Only silence remains now, and sleep. As your journey nears its end, you find yourself standing at the edge of a quiet grove. It is not marked by signs. No god claims it, but it is sacred. Here the trees are tall and still, their bark smooth as old skin, their branches hanging low with silence. They say this is the grove that remembers, a place where the forest holds on to the people it has met. Not their names, not their deeds, just their presence. The warmth of a child's hand on a root, the tear of a wanderer who had no one left, the breath of a sleeper who stayed too long. As you step inside, the air shifts, gentle, familiar, like an embrace. The leaves do not rustle, they listen, and maybe they remember you. Even if you don't, you sit beneath one final tree. The bark is warm, the moss soft as a cradle, and the forest exhales. There is one last path, stone-lined, winding. It leads to a door you do not remember building, but you've always known it. It is simple, wooden, set into a hill covered in moss and violet blooms. You walk slowly now. Your steps are light. You place your hand on the door. It is warm. You do not need a key. It opens not with a creak, but with a sigh. Inside there is nothing, only darkness. But it is the good kind. The kind that holds you, that sings with silence, that has no edge. The kind of dark that is not empty, but full. You lie down on the earth, or perhaps it lies down beneath you, and the forest fades. The stars too. Only the breath of the world remains, and sleep.